There is a student loan scandal, or at least there was earlier this year, related to who was getting kickbacks from whom in issuing student loans.
Right.
How did that come to be?
I have no. I think it's just part of. I hate to be Johnny One Note, but I think it's part of the same corrupt system that's the problem. You know, it's the banks, for example, who are the intermediaries in this process. Everybody who's paying any attention knows they need to be removed. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, $4 or $5 billion of taxpayer money going to banks when they don't really serve any function except they're essentially a conduit. That's what they do. It doesn't make any sense, and everybody knows it didn't make any sense. When I was in the Senate, it didn't make any sense, and everybody knew it. But the banks have such a powerful lobby and such a powerful presence that it's impossible to do anything about it. So, I mean, that's why I believe there is a direct connection. I guess I've said this, but I want to say it one last time. I think there's a direct connection between the corruption that has crept into the government, and there are many, many examples. I think it literally infects almost everything. The corruption, but here's the danger. Here's the real danger. We've gotten used to it. And I'm as guilty as anybody. I said this last night. We've gotten used to it. I mean, people say to themselves, normal Americans say, this is the way it's the way it is. We can't do anything about this. You know? Lobbyists have influence. That's the way it is. They give money to millions of dollars to presidential candidates. That's the way it is. If you're rich and you're a big corporation, you're going to have a much more powerful voice in the democracy. That's the way it is. Why is that the way it is? Why? I mean, and if we're not willing to do anything about it, then I said this last night, we're going to have to look our children in the eye and say, we are totally comfortable with passing this mess on to you. And maybe you'll have the guts to do something about it.
Well, what is this, some weakening of moral fiber? I mean, in the 1950s and 60s, would you have seen these sorts of things going on? Is it that the...
I don't think it has anything to do with the American people. I don't. I think that it's the combination of a concentration of power and wealth that we haven't seen in a long time in America. That which creates the great potential for corruption, because there's so much money, so much power concentrated in a few people, and they want to keep it, and so they facilitate a system that works to keep the power in their hands, and that's exactly what they're doing. And I think for most Americans, first of all, politicians are loath to say the system's corrupt because they're in it. You know, they don't want to say they're in a system that's corrupt. So so the net result is to say, oh, that's not really true. You're overstating the case. I don't think so. And I think it affects. I won't say it affects everything. It affects almost everything. I mean, we don't have universal health care because of drug companies, insurance companies, and their lobbyists. We haven't attacked global warming, and I know why we haven't attacked it, because the oil companies and gas companies have so much power in Washington. And you look at the way these lobbying firms work. I mean, now this I don't think most Americans are aware of. You all are, but they're not. You go to if you're ExxonMobil, you go to a big lobbying firm in Washington D.C. You hire them. And half the lobbyists are Republicans, half of them are Democrats. The Republicans are in power. The Republican lobbyists take the lead. They raise the money for the Republicans, and they do most of the lobbying. The Democrats go to power. The Democratic lobbyists take the lead. They're working for the same company, for the same cause. There is no difference. And so when I say, are we really going to trade a group of corporate Republicans for corporate Democrats? And does anybody really think something's going to change if that happens? Because these lobbying firms will get rich no matter what. That's just the way they function. So, my point is, it's very easy for us to be complacent about this and say, oh, well, this is just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Well, there is something we can do about it. America's risen up in the past and done something when something like this happens. I don't think it has anything to do with our people, the American people. To answer your question, I think it's a government and a system that's facilitated this.